Hey everyone, as most of you know, we use Ephesoft Enterprise to offer our clients a very customizable and capable document capture system. Ephesoft just came out with Service Pack number 2 on their 3.0.3.4 software version for Ephesoft Enterprise. The only place I could find on the web where the details of that release were listed out is on this somewhat verbose release notes list. So today I just wanted to cherry pick some of the most exciting fixes and improvements that we found here and demonstrate just how useful they can be. So the first fix I'll talk about was actually a patch that was released from OpenText. OpenText is the creator and maintainer of RicoStar, which is the optical character recognition engine that enables the initial page processing that Ephesoft does when it ingests a document. Because of RicoStar, Ephesoft can take a raw and unprocessed image file of a page or a series of pages, and from that extract out raw data in the form of characters broken into XML information that's laid throughout the page. So if we look at an example here, these are multi-page TIFFs that represent some old client data we have. As you can see, they're rotated at a bunch of different angles. Some of them are skewed, they're upside down. This really isn't a typical scenario necessarily, but when this happens, and it does occasionally, previously RicoStar would have some trouble processing this data. There is a built-in subsystem within RicoStar to handle automatic correction of skew and rotation. And all of that was firing properly before from what we could observe. The one consequence that we could see that wasn't working out quite right was this right here. After the image would be de-skewed and righted and rotated and auto-corrected, sometimes the geometry wouldn't work out quite right. And so you'd have what we can see here, which we took to calling simply an offset. This is where Ephesoft thinks the OCR data is, the actual XML that represents the characters and letters on the page. And when it's overlaid over the raw image, viewing here within the validation screen, there's an observable geometric offset here, a visual offset. And in this case, it's somewhat mild. It's large enough to observe, but in some cases, maybe with documents that had worse skew to begin with, that offset would be substantial enough that it would actually impede the easy extraction and selection and highlighting of data on the page that users might need to go through when using this validation screen. So that was the situation before the patch was released. So with the RicoStar fix, we've seen basically 100% reduction of this artifact. Previously, with a couple of clients that we were working with, the skew in their initial documents was substantial enough that we were really seeing this offset on a pretty regular basis. And for more sensitive spatial and geometric tasks, such as table extraction, it was actually causing some amount of trouble. There's, again, a little bit of offset that you can observe here, but with some documents, it was substantial enough to make this a difficult process. So after the release of the OpenText fix, and now with SP2, we've basically seen this issue be completely resolved. The OCR layer, the selection layer, this yellow highlight, matches up basically perfectly with all the data that we can throw at it. Even with more sensitive tasks like table extraction, as I mentioned earlier, where we were seeing some difficulty before. Now there's no offset. It's easy to change or correct this data if we need to. And it's quite impressive. We've been very pleased with the results from this aspect of the new service pack. Another new feature that we like is Ephesoft now offers the ability to capture multiple strings of data from a page and concatenate each of those strings into a delimited list within a single document level field. So I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. The way that you set this up is now to drill down into the regular validate document plugin, which is part of most configurations that you might come across with Ephesoft. And at the bottom here, we have index field value separator. So this is a delimiter, which you can set to any character that you like. We've chosen a semicolon in this case. And you'll see in a moment that every time we grab a new piece of data, the new value is appended after the addition of this delimiter. And this can be changed again to match whatever use case that you might have. So let's have a look here. So here's an empty field. This is a document level field. It's set to multi-line, which enables this kind of expanding field intended for probably more free-form data that could be a little more lengthy. So as usual, I'll just do a single click here. It populates the field. Now, if I hold down Control, I can get a second value here, which highlights. You can see the delimiter there has been inserted. That's a semicolon right there. If I continue to hold down Control, I can continue to grab as much data as I want. And I can use even the right-click functionality that already existed in Ephesoft to grab a whole chunk of data if I so choose. Whoops, let's try that again. That was my mistake with the mouse. So again, it appends this whole block after the final semicolon here. And this entire chunk of data will stay here and can be passed along to whatever downstream application you might have. So this really opens up the field for, I think, a broader variety of free-form data capture that can be undertaken by user operators of the system. And it could simplify the implementation of what would have previously had to be probably several different fields, maybe a variety of fields, some of which may have intermittently been populated by data or not. If you have that kind of variability in your data set, now your users can address all of that just within one multi-line field, or a much smaller number of them if you wish, using this delimited concatenating multi-select data feature. And you can keep going to your heart's content. So that'll do it for today. Those are a couple of our most favorite features from Service Pack 2 from Ephesoft. We like what they're doing here, and we look forward to seeing more from them. Thanks, and have a great day.